For this video, we're going to look at a couple of things to get us set up to talk about the unit circle in class. So to begin with, we're going to review radians and degrees. Remember, 360 degrees is equivalent to 2 pi radians. So whenever we want to go from radians to degrees, we multiply by 180 over pi, and degrees to radians, we multiply by pi over 180. The easiest way to think about it is to remember if I have like 180 degrees, and I want to go from degrees to radian, I need to multiply by something that's going to cancel out the degrees on top. And to cancel out something on top, it's got to be on the bottom. So we'll put the degrees on bottom and pi on top. Right? And remember, pi and 180 are equivalent, so that's like multiplying by 1. Right? So for example, if I had 90 degrees that I wanted to go to radians, I would multiply by pi over 180. My degrees cancel. And then 90 over 180 simplifies to 1/2, so that means it's pi over 2 radians. And then if I wanted to go from 3 pi over 2 back to degrees, I would multiply by 180 over pi. So now my pi's cancel, and I have 3 over 2 times 180. Well, 180 divided by 2 is 90, and 90 times 3 is 270 degrees. Right? So that's just going back and forth between degrees and radians. We also want to review our quadrants. Okay, remember your quadrants are, you have 4 quadrants in your coordinate plane. Okay, some of them are all positive, some are all negative, and then the other ones are positive and negative. So remember our quadrants, we make a C. So we have quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, in quadrant 1, that's the positive x-axis, positive y-axis. That means everything in quadrant 1 is positive. So positive x, positive y. Quadrant 2 is the negative x-axis and the positive y-axis. So it's going to be negative, positive. Quadrant 3 is negative x, negative y. And then quadrant 4 is positive x, negative y. Okay, and that's going to come in handy tomorrow when we're looking at our unit circle, because we're going to have the same numbers that repeat all the way around. It's just a matter of if they're positive or negative based on what quadrant they're in. So remember, your quadrants make that C shape. You start in the top right and you go counterclockwise. All right, and then tomorrow we're going to talk about the actual unit circle, but we call it a unit circle because our radius is 1 unit. So we put it on our graph. So in the middle we have 0, 0, that's our origin. And then we consider this to be 0 degrees. Okay, so if I go over here at 0 degrees and I start rotating counterclockwise, straight up is going to be 90 degrees. Right, and then I go one more click over here and we get 180. Keep going, we get 270. And then all the way back around where we started is 360. Okay, and remember, it's the same thing in radians, except we'll start with 0 radians. Then we go up, and remember, all the way over at 180 is 1 radian, or pi, right? And then half of that is pi over 2. And then over here we got 2 pi for all the way back around, and then between 2 pi and pi is 3 pi over 2. Okay, so we always start over here at the positive x-axis, and we rotate counterclockwise. Same thing with our quadrants. We start on the top right and rotate it counterclockwise. So there's just a couple of things to keep in mind, as well as the fact that our radius is 1 unit. Right, so that means that here is 1. So that means this point is 1, 0. Right, again, up here is 1. So my point is 0, 1. This one would be negative 1, 0. And then down here, 0, negative 1. Right, and we'll look at filling in all the different angles tomorrow in our next class.